Now we're gonna find out like if Jalen Hurts can can play the guitar, as it were. Like is he good enough? And there are no excuses now. He's got what he needs. The same goes for the defense. And frankly, by the numbers, Jonathan Gannon's performance with the defense last year was worse than Jalen Hurts's as a quarterback. This team finished 25th in defensive DVOA. I would say that Jalen Hurts was probably more like the 14th, 15th, 16th best quarterback in the league last year. Now Jonathan Gannon has big upgrades on the defensive line. The pass rush has been upgraded, which was anemic last year by the numbers. And I know that there's some disparity in terms of like pass rush win rate versus their sack numbers, but I tend to believe the sack numbers, even though the ball came out quickly. The linebackers, as you said, huge upgrades.
Appreciate your streaming on in here on Birds 365 with Mac and Mac, McMullen and McDonald. All right, we got one of the best who cover the Eagles day in and day out. He does it for The Athletic. Bo Wulf jumps aboard with us here on Birds 365. All right, Bo, from the day Bradberry was retired, speculate, the Eagles could use a guy like James Bradberry.
He retired? No, released.
Oh, excuse me, was released. Thank you.
Malcolm Jenkins, maybe they'll bring him in to play safety.
That's possible.
What do you think Malcolm's doing with himself these days?
He's got plenty to do. I mean, the one thing that always struck me about Malcolm is that nobody made more use of their time that I've ever met than Malcolm Jenkins. So I'm sure that he's still very busy with all of his things to do.
That's true. He was a diligent individual getting out there into the community and everything else. All right. So before I misspoke and said retired, I meant released. Certain speculation popped up that the Eagles should have interest in a guy like James Bradberry. Got a 1-year deal, market value darn close to it, 7.5 that can go to $10 million. Some people didn't think the Eagles would go that high or that Bradberry was going to get a multi-year contract. The Eagles weren't going to be able to go there or willing to go there. What do you think was the key to James Bradberry ending up as an Eagle?
Yeah, I was sort of like the contrarian in me when he got released was like, well, obviously the fit makes sense with the Eagles, but I was thinking that, maybe some other team like the Chiefs will be a little bit more win now, a little bit more willing to pay a premium. And that's my mistake for not remembering that the Eagles are always, the most in win now mode of anybody. So it made sense. It's an obvious fit. I think, the opportunity, there's he gets to step right into an easy starting job, and there's not going to be a lot on his plate. To play opposite Darius Slay, I think is a good opportunity for him. It's an easy scheme fit for him. He's a zone corner through and through, and this is what he's going to be asked to do. And the Eagles gave him what is a reasonable deal. The Giants are still paying him too. So now he gets to play a year, maybe rebuild his value, and go back into the market next year at 29 years old. Maybe get one more shot at another big money deal.
Bo, one of the funnest things you and Zach do at The Athletic, read Bo at theathletic.com with Zach Berman, you grade each move. So I haven't checked this out yet. I want to know what the scale you guys use for James Bradberry. And I don't know if you know, but the Giants have struck back by signing former Eagles corner Mike Jacquet.
I saw that. Some of the longest arms in the game, Michael Jacquet.
Longest arms in I don't know if that's going to affect your grade, but first I want to scale and where you guys went with it.
Well, this is a sort of a concerning development for Zach because it seems that I'm rubbing off on him too much, which I think is a bad thing because the scale for James Bradberry was on the Berry scale.
We go.
What that type of Berry? Sense. And this is like the second time in a row where Zach and I have had the same answer. We both gave it a blueberry. And so I feel like it is not good for Zach in the long run that we're starting to think alike.
You made a really interesting point there, and I want to get you to zero in on it even more. You're right in that when the player made the decision and they reported that there were upward of 11 teams that had interest in him, I kind of poo-poo that number because you don't know how
Well,
interested
yeah,
they
like I
really
mean,
were.
every team should be calling just to see, right? Like
Yeah,
so, like any
exactly.
degree of
Yeah.
interest. Like I mean, 30
If
teams should have
if
been
he's better
interested,
than
right?
one of their two starting cornerbacks, you're kind of obligated to call and go, "Hey, James, how would you like to play for us? We're
Right.
going
Or
to
like,
offer
hey,
you $3
is there
million."
any chance that he wants, like, he's got family in Detroit and wants to be here for $4 million? Like, you might as well make the
Yeah.
call. What else are you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I don't think that's that big a deal. But you made an excellent point in that he comes in here to the Philadelphia Eagles and he's CB2, which has been a phrase that's been created over the last 5-6 years. We need to rank each player at each position. And hey, I'm guilty as charged too. But he is CB2 for the Eagles behind Darius Slay. There aren't that many teams where he is CB2. I'm sure that of those 11 teams, there were some that were having him as CB1, and he would have walked in as their best corner and drew the assignment when they make a decision to go man to man, and you're going to match up against the other team's best wide receivers. There could have been places that he could have gone and done that. He's not going to be asked to do that here in Philadelphia. It's a calculated risk because you probably aren't going to get beat as often. You're going to probably be able to put up good numbers, which will look nice. But other teams, when you go back out into free agency next year, are going to go, yeah, but you want CB1 numbers, and you didn't play CB1 last year. You played CB2. You played in a zone defense in Philadelphia. Did James Bradberry make the right decision for James Bradberry? I think he made the right decision for the Eagles, but did he make the right decision for himself if one of the goals is a better contract next year?
Well, I think, if you were to really like play out the CB2 thing, you would imagine that means more balls probably get thrown his way, and maybe that means more opportunity for interceptions. He had to get a bunch of interceptions 2 years ago. So maybe that's what he's thinking. I think more likely what he's thinking is the Eagles offered more money. And so like that's in the end, that's what you do. And then you believe in yourself as a player, you're gonna go out and prove it. So my guess is like I think oftentimes a lot of these decisions are overthought from the outside, and it really comes down to like who paid.
Who gave the extra quarter,
Right.
basically? And I do think it was multiple years in Kansas City or Las Vegas. He's probably in Kansas City or Las Vegas, but um, the way it affects the Eagles defense, Bo, um, there's a lot of versatility now at Jonathan Gannon's disposal. He can, go the old
It
Bill.
seems that way.
It seems that way on paper. Obviously, we're in May. You can go the old Bill Belichick route. You have Slay lock down one side of the field, play zone on the other side of the field. You can do that. We've talked about the uniqueness of Hassan Reddick up front, and they can be multiple 3-4. Everybody's focused on 3-4 versus 4-3. Who cares? Everybody plays variable fronts. We got linebackers now for the first time in recorded memory. Who do you think's got more pressure on them right now, Jonathan Gannon or Jalen Hurts? Because we all know what Jalen Hurts is expected to do.
Yeah, I think that to me was my number one takeaway from this signing is that it really puts Jonathan Gannon in a similar position to Jalen Hurts. Everybody talks about the offense. Okay, like Jalen Hurts now has all the pieces. He's got a great offensive line. He's got AJ Brown now. He's got four realistic, like real good weapons in the passing game if you count Quez Watkins, and I think I do. The running game should be fine. Now we're going to find out like if Jalen Hurts can play the guitar, as it were. Like is he good enough? And there are no excuses now. He's got what he needs. The same goes for the defense. And frankly, by the numbers, Jonathan Gannon's performance with the defense last year was worse than Jalen Hurts's as a quarterback. This team finished 25th in defensive DVOA. I would say that Jalen Hurts was probably more like the 14th, 15th, 16th best quarterback in the league last year. Now Jonathan Gannon has big upgrades on the defensive line. The pass rush has been upgraded, which was anemic last year by the numbers. And I know that there's some disparity in terms of like pass rush win rate versus their sack numbers, but I tend to believe the sack numbers, even though the ball came out quickly. The linebackers, as you said, huge upgrades. The corners have been upgraded. The safeties, still probably about the same as it was last year, and I think that's probably sort of schematic. I think if Gannon's going to continue to play his safeties super deep, then it's not like they need to overinvest in that position. But so now, like, there are no excuses for Jonathan Gannon. It's the second year in the scheme for these guys. He's got the multiplicity that you think that he wants. And so if he can't turn this defense into like a, top 12 defense or so, that's a pretty big indictment. And I feel like, as much as Jalen Hurts is under the gun, I think Gannon is too. Now, I would say that, like, who's more under pressure? Probably Hurts, just because the Eagles, we know, like, would be willing to go out.
Quarterback, yeah.
And right, it's the quarterback, and the Eagles will try to upgrade on that position if they can. But I think, in my view, like, Jonathan Gannon is more like, is he good enough? Is he good or not? I think we're really going to find out this year.
You went to the safety position, and that's the only position left that they haven't added a starter. They've upgraded Marcus Epps from situational substitution guy to a starting rotation. They didn't bring someone in from the outside, either via trade, free agency, or draft. Is Epps up to the task? I know he spoke to you guys yesterday. John continues to say that he did a nice job when called upon. McLeod being out at the beginning of the year, Epps was solid, not game-changing, but solid. Are they putting too many eggs in Marcus Epps' basket for you?
You know what? For me, it's I'm more concerned about Anthony Harris than I am about Marcus Epps. I think Marcus Epps is fine. I think he's ready to step into that role. I would feel much better about him if they had upgraded over Anthony Harris. Like, Anthony Harris, the reason that Marcus Epps played so much last year is because Anthony Harris and Rodney McLeod both had to be rotated, because you couldn't count on either of those guys to play 100% of the snaps, and because they didn't really deserve to. I mean, Anthony Harris, I think, is a declining player, whereas Marcus Epps is an ascending player. So I'm actually a little bit more worried about Anthony Harris than I am about Marcus Epps. I like Marcus Epps. I think, if you look at, like, what's the last splash that Howie Roseman could make, Jesse Bates, the Pro Bowl safety from the Bengals, is reportedly not reporting to the Bengals because he is unhappy about being on the franchise tag, and they drafted a safety in the first round. So maybe there's something there. There are not a lot of free agent safeties available who are starting caliber. So if they're going to make a move there, you would think it would be via trade. I think it comes down to, like, the scheme. Do they need a star caliber player there? I'm not so sure. But yeah, I feel more confident about Marcus Epps than I do about Anthony Harris, to be honest.
I'm with you. I've been saying it for weeks, Bo.
Yep.
Everybody talks about Epps. I'm more concerned about Anthony Harris. I think if they do get an upgrade somewhere, whether it's via, I don't think it's going to be to the splash of but maybe Clark in Baltimore.
Chuck Clark, right? Yeah.
Because they drafted Kyle Hamilton, they signed Marcus Williams.
But Anthony Harris, like, super nice guy.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah.
Like, seems
Awesome
like an awesome
guy.
dude. I don't know if you watched the videos the Eagles put out, but they had the free throw shooting contest. He airballs two free throws in a row.
Terrible.
No.
And then they did the batting practice, and he's whiffing on during batting practice. He's not a natural athlete, my guy Anthony Harris.
I did see the I didn't see the I did see the batting practice. I didn't last out. Yeah, the free throws were bad. They were really bad. So I'm with you.
And I told John they had no chance
guy.
Eagles were drafting Sam Howell, because I saw his basketball video and he was terrible. And I think Sirianni puts a lot of stock in that.
Yeah,
So
he does.
maybe I should be surprised that Anthony Harris is going to be replaced in the Eagle lineup if he can't make free throws.
Yeah, come on.
If they get an upgrade at safety, that's where I am. It's going to be for Harris, not Epps. Epps is going to be out there. That's my thought process. But I want to go up a level too, because the other guy I'm a little bit higher on, I think, than most people on this defense is TJ Edwards. And when the Eagles drafted Nakobe Dean, I think it's tremendous value. But I think everybody kind of defaulted, though, to, well, he's going to replace TJ Edwards. I don't think TJ's getting replaced. If somebody's getting replaced, it's Kaiser White. And the Eagles didn't pay him. I mean, we've been down this road with one-year deals with linebackers. I think Kaiser's a lot better than the LJ Fords and the Paul Warlows and the Corey Nelsons of the world. But we've been down this road at linebacker before. Where are you on TJ Edwards? Did you see Nakobe Dean and said, okay, he's going to replace TJ?
Yeah, I think I'm sort of with you. Maybe just a notch below. I mean, I do think that he is a somewhat limited player, and it's not like the problem with the Eagles' defense last year was how deep those linebackers were playing, right? And they were just
Yeah.
allowing those short completions, and part of the reason I imagine is because of T.J. Edwards' athletic limitations. I like T.J. Edwards. I think he's a good player. I'm with you that like if I'm going to guess who's going to play more snaps, it's probably Edwards over Kaiser White. And I think this is one of those Sheil Kapadia will always say he hates when coaches say it's a good problem to have. That means it's not a good problem to have. But I do think like three linebackers, like there's enough room for three linebackers to get snaps, even if you're playing base nickel. I'm sure that those guys can rotate enough. And, whatever the concerns about Nakobe Dean's shoulder are, maybe you take a few snaps off of his plate and bring him along a little bit slower, see how he's doing. And I'm with you, like the Kaiser White thing, it's just worrying to me that the Chargers let him go because, they were willing to spend on their defense. It seems like they like him. He had a very good year. And it was not a lot of money that he got from the Eagles.
Yeah.
So why is it that they were able to get him? That's, anytime a guy signs in free agency, you're always trying to figure out why is it that he was available? Why did the other team let him go? And so, I am a little bit concerned about that. Still, it's good value. And I don't think there's any question that like this top three is as good as they've had probably at least since the Super Bowl year.
Well, Kaiser White's here because it's the homeboy coming home. We all heard him say he grew up as an Eagle fan, went to the games.
Yeah, from Emmaus.
Dying to put on the Eagle green.
Yeah.
That's why he's here.
McCungy's own Kaiser White.
Sounded good, so I'm buying it. And here's how I would look at the linebacker play breakdown. If it were me, if I were Jonathan Gannon, and I just happen to believe Jonathan Gannon and I will see it the same. Where does Nakobe Dean fit the best? Where does he look the best? They'll use him in both different positions and get a read on wherever he plays the best. That's whose plays he's cutting into for me. If he's doing as all things being the same, yeah, maybe I fall on he'll cut more into Kaiser White. But if they're not, if he's better in the middle, well, then TJ Edwards is going to pay the price because I just think his upside is better than either of those other two guys. So whatever works best for him would be where I would deploy him the most if I were Jonathan Gannon. I hope it works that way. I think it might. I do want to ask you one more question about Chuck Clark. There were rumors floating around that the Eagles talked to them about Jalen Reagor, and it was the Eagles who wouldn't want to do a 1-for-1 deal for Jalen Reagor. You don't buy that for a millisecond, do you?
No, I find that hard to believe. I feel like if you guys were willing to offer a 10-minute spot in exchange for Jalen Reagor, I think the Eagles would take that.
I don't know how he can be
he can be. You're right.
Yeah, I think he would hold out for a 20-minute spot. Though.
He can be slow. He can be slow to accept losses on public failures like that.
Yeah.
But just, let's be honest. Like, he's at best the fourth receiver, and like if you could get off his guaranteed money for this year of his contract as a first-round pick, I think you would be
and then
wild
you're getting a proven starter at a position of need. He's got to make that deal. If that was on the table, you can't turn that down, can you, Bo Wulf?
I find that hard to believe that would have been the case.
Yeah. I don't.
Plus, Chuck Clark, a full sentence All-Star. We gotta love that.
Yeah, full sentence All-Star. Yeah. Philly guy too. You get everything with Clark. It just makes too much sense.
I didn't believe that reporting a little bit. Do I think Howie probably called like the 11 teams who made a play for James Bradberry?
Right.
Howie called and the Ravens said, "Yeah."
I think he would trade him for Michael Jacquet.
Yeah, Mike Jacquet. Mike's got length. We know that. So good for Mike Jacquet, by the way, going up the turnpike in the New York
Temple
Giants,
guy. We always root for Temple guys.
No, he's not a Temple guy.
No,
where'd he go,
Louisiana,
Lafayette, was it?
Yeah, I think it's now just called Louisiana.
Oh,
I think.
Right.
Yeah.
He
is a former wide receiver. So there you go.
My bad.
Yeah. Nick Sirianni. It's a little bit surprising to me that because of, I think, all the talk about the defense and what we mentioned, all the expectations now with Jonathan Gannon. And with the offense, it's about Jalen Hurts and can he play the guitar, as you said. He's got the band around him. Can he play the guitar? Nick Sirianni, a year into this, kind of skating through everything, isn't he? But everybody's fine with Nick Sirianni. Everything's great with Nick Sirianni. No, I like Nick. I think he did a good job. I think he was the best rookie head coach. But are you a little bit surprised that everybody's sort of defaulting to, hey, we got a good head coach?
I guess so. I mean, I think that is the ramification of what you said, that he was the best rookie head coach last year. I mean, they definitely exceeded expectations. He was able to change the style of the offense to take advantage of what they had. I think he sort of deserves, the goodwill here. Now that said, they go out and lose the first two games, then
Oh yeah, then it changes. Yeah,
then it changes. We're going to be
if they lose to Carson Wentz or Doug Peterson in those first 4 games,
or Deuce Staley and Halapoulivanti Vaitai.
Yeah, that's true as well.
I think he sort of deserves that goodwill. Now, it's to the same point we were saying about Jalen Hurts. You've got all these pieces on offense. Let's see what he can do with it. Let's see what Sirianni can do. Like, does the offense change? I think we all want to see, is the offense going to look more like it did in the first half of the season in terms of the run pass disparity than it did in the second half of the season? Or are they going to go back to pounding the run? And I'm curious to see what kind of wrinkles they draw up. We heard before last season that one of the emphases of the Sirianni offense was, getting the ball in space, that yards after catch stuff. And that was not really a big part of the offense last year. Maybe A.J. Brown changes that dynamic. I'm just curious to see what it looks like. But I do think that Sirianni has sort of, earned the goodwill, at least for one offseason.
Now, one follow-up to that, Bo. Do you believe for 1 second that Nick Sirianni is on board or is sort of one of the leaders, at least, of this scale back and off-season work? Because I do not believe that for a second. There are 2 teams in this league with no mandatory minicamp. And I think it was Zach who asked the question at one of the draft ones of Howie, and he kind of quickly shoveled it off to Nick. I don't believe for 1 second. It might be right. The Eagles might be ahead of the curve. It might be the way to go because I don't know how much you accomplish in off-season work anyway. But I've yet to meet the football coach, I say this all the time, that doesn't want to practice. I only bring this up because if he's getting ordered to do these things and he is a good coach, at some point there's going to be a pushback. Or am I jumping to conclusions too early?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done the digging on that, but I mean, he is a player's coach to begin with, right? And so I think that he is the kind of guy who's willing to listen to his guys. If you listen to Jason Kelce talk about it, he said, I think on the Chris Long podcast, that he wouldn't still be playing if it was like Doug Peterson practices. They were practicing all season long. His body at the end of last year felt much better than it had. And I think that Sirianni is probably willing to, see the bigger picture, see the long view here. Like that means more to me than getting the time on grass, as Doug used to say about the spring.
Got to get the grass done.
Yeah, if your guys are going to be healthier and they're telling you that, I think that matters. Now, obviously, I would imagine the sports science aspect here plays a larger role. And Sirianni's probably willing to listen. And also, the proof is in the pudding, right? So if this is what they were telling him last year, and maybe he was bristling a little bit, he wasn't sure, but then he saw the results play out over the course of the year, I think that he probably is willing to be on board with that.
All right, Bo, although we are Birds 365, we tackle league issues as well, and I appreciate your acumen about the National Football League, so I do want to run this one by you and get your take. Our pal Josina Anderson, who was never proven that she got information from a said Eagle wide receiver about the way things were in the Eagle locker room, but we all believe what we believe. Josina Anderson yesterday came out and said an NFL executive mentioned to her that the NFL may follow suit with Major League Baseball, that Trevor Bauer got a 2-year suspension because of problems off the field, violence and the like, and that the NFL may want to use that as a guideline for Deshaun Watson, that he could get 2 years suspension. The Browns already made the deal. They already gave him the money. Now they might not actually have to pay it. They may get to keep it in their pocket, but
I think don't they still have to pay him if he gets suspended?
They don't have to pay him his salary, but it's structured as it's all bonuses anyway. So they're paying him.
He's still getting paid. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Thanks for the correction. Yeah. He'll lose the salary, which is what, veteran minimum, and everything else he's already gotten up front. So Deshaun won't be hurting for cash, but Cleveland could save a couple bucks. They don't care about that. They're going to have someone else out there playing quarterback. Now, they signed Jacoby Brissett during the offseason, and they got a quarterback still on the roster who's everybody's been wet. Baker Mayfield, gotta go. Gonna happen any day now. He's still there. Could Baker Mayfield be the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns this year?
That's interesting. His personality does not seem to me like he would accept that. Not that I know him that well. But I would imagine that he's still bristling and pissed off at everybody. Now maybe that means that he would, he would like to play the sort of the major league card and just, go out there and flip the bird to the front office while he's playing quarterback. That could be fun. It does seem like if someone was going to trade for him, they probably would have done it already after the draft, right? If it was going to be Carolina or Seattle, it doesn't seem like those teams are super interested. So maybe now the Browns are waiting to see if a quarterback gets hurt. But geez. I mean, if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for 2 years, I think I usually don't give Roger Goodell any credit. So if he does that, then I would have to give him a little bit of a tip of the hat because he has not done that in the past.
No, I would be stunned if they set that precedent. But at least Baker could extend that lease at First Energy Stadium for a couple more years. But
he already lives there, so
lives there, so doesn't have to. That's where I was going. That's why Bo is great. At Bo_Wulf. Read him at theathletic.com/Billy. Last one for me, Bo. How was the swoop shake yesterday? Saw you walking out. Gave EJ and I the swoop shake tip of the cap. How was it?
It tasted like a Shamrock shake, I would say. That was a lot of shake. I did not.
That was a lot of shake. That was a lot of shake.
That was a lot of shake.
Messy too. I'm gonna.
Yeah. I don't want to. We should say this is the Wawa Eagles partnership. Let's give them the credit since they gave us the shakes.
Eagles Autism Foundation can get
the Eagles PR left that for us. And no heads up though. Like I almost didn't go into the trailer. I would have missed my shake. I would say I would give it 3 spoons out of 5.
Very nice.
All right, 3 spoons. I'm gonna go 4 because I was nicer. But Jimmy Kempski wasn't there, and there was a swoop shake. So I'm hoping somebody picked that up.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of shakes went unnoticed there. A bit of a waste of the swoop shakes. But
Kempski missed out, huh? And I would have to go straws over. Was it spoon worthy? Is that what you're telling me?
You're right. It was more straw. It was more straw.
It was straw. Spoon. It was straw. It was straw.
I don't need a. If I have to use a spoon, then it's not my favorite shake ever. But
how about you don't like a Frosty from Wendy's, Jody?
No, I wanna be able to take it through the straw. If I'm gonna get then I'd actually rather have ice cream. If I'm gonna use a spoon, give me some soft ice cream. I'll go there instead.
Okay.
We are glad whenever we go to Bo Wulf for hopping aboard with us here on Birds 365. Mr. Wulf, our pleasure. Thank you very much. We'll have you back on in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.